say something controversial about the 100 men versus gorilla scenario. Not only is it very veilly thin sexism, which is letting me know a lot of these men I'm seeing respond to, it's like, okay, yeah, you're sexist.
Leave it to a woman to make this about sexism and them when the argument was never about them even being involved in this.
Like that, the men would lose the majority of the time, but I actually would argue that women would have a much better chance of being able to beat it than men would.
So you heard what she said. Very short video. That's pretty much where it ends. And she gave no context. So we're going to watch the follow-up video where she explains why she thinks 100 women would have a better chance than men.
Okay, so I 100% believe this. I think 100 humans in general would get curb stomped by the gorilla. Because there's so many
Are women not human?
logistical reasons why it would not be possible to carry out a coordinated attack against the gorilla under the parameters of the specific prompt. Most people are not recognizing that kicks and hits against a gorilla would hurt you more than it would hurt it.
So I'm going to have to stop this video a lot because I've watched it, but I'm going to have to go point by point because she makes a lot of assumptions in the video. She makes a lot of statements, like statement of facts that aren't statement of facts. They're lies. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Specifically this one. That's not how a kick works, per se. The amount of pain you would receive from you kicking an object doesn't have to be a gorilla. It depends on what it is, right? But let's say a hard object, it's proportional to the amount of force that you use to kick it. And depending on if you're a trained fighter and you're used to kicking things for a living and your shins are calloused, you might not feel it as bad. So what she's talking about here, makes no sense.
So it would be like kicking a bowling ball. Any man who thinks that women would not have a better chance at this task is ignoring the fact that this prompt relies upon like organization of mass numbers. And women have better organizational skills, not because we're innately gifted with it, but because society trains us to.
That's not true. Again, women are better at organizational things, but that is an innate, inherent trait in women biologically. She doesn't know what she's talking about, but she also made it about sexism. But for some reason, she thinks that because women can organize, they would have a chance against a gorilla, or a better chance against a gorilla than 100 men.
Breast and ego of men that we're seeing in a lot of these responses of being like, oh yeah, men would get this, would get a lot of them killed because you're underestimating your opponent and overestimating your own skill.
No, a lot of men have said that yes, there are going to be a few of the men that are going to die. We have come to that conclusion. Not everyone is coming out of that situation alive, but men will get the job done.
Meet reality, and reality would bitch slap you in the face. Once that happens, all that hubris just melts on away.
Notice how she said that a lot of men would be underestimating their opponent and they would get killed, and once that starts happening, a lot of them are just gonna meet reality. This does not apply to women. A lot of the arguments she makes about why men would fail, she does not apply to women, as if women are somehow, and it's not making it about sex or whatever, but she's talking like as if women are somehow these perfect beings who have never experienced fear and are always calm during adversity, or are always willing to charge forward when things are getting bad, which has historically not been the case. Usually the men go out to war, not the women. And it's usually the men protecting the women. Usually the women run away and cower, while a man will step in front and defend his family. How often have you seen cases of women jumping in front of bad situations to save their family, to save their children? Let's not even say husband. Let's just say children. You almost never see it. But a man will die for his family. So the argument she's making, it's all flawed. And I have a video for you guys at the end that we're going to watch that pretty much proves that the point that she's making here about women being organized and women have a better chance at doing this against the gorilla completely falls on his face. It's not real. It would never happen.
Get into it. Let's take out the idea that there would be men who would run away from the fight completely once they see other men get eviscerated. Let's think about the logistical reasons why that this fight would not turn out well. I saw one creator talk about one thing being a factor is like the randomization of age. Not all of these men are going to be from the same age group.
Again, does this not apply to women? Are all the women going to be in the same age group? These 100 women. See how she's applying logic to men as to why men wouldn't be able to do this, that she's not applying to women.
Different strengths, different fitness levels. A lot of y'all are going to get winded just running to the gorilla.
And women are not. Men have higher lung capacity than women do. I mean, this is basic biology. So if a lot of men are going to get winded running to the gorilla, it stands to reason a person with common sense would say the same thing would probably apply to women. And probably much faster.
You have 100 men running towards a gorilla. Once he starts to attack that first row of men, they're falling down and or landing on top of other men.
Again, are women not going to do the same? And she's acting like men are just going to get in some sort of platoon formation where they're like just a row of men coming in waves. All of that she's saying could apply to the women just as equally. And it actually doesn't have to. But for her to think that women would have a better chance is delusional. But let's keep going.
Commission and or tripping over themselves to get towards him. And while that's happening, more men are running over them and trampling them. Keep seeing men saying, oh, we'll just tire him out. We'll just tire him out. To be able to successfully beat the gorilla, to unalive the gorilla, you have to not only tire him out, but then find a way to unalive him after you tired him out.
Again, wouldn't that same logic apply to the women? If they manage to tire him out, how are they going to kill him? Under the same parameters that apply to men. I just want to know. Do they have some sort of magic secret weapon that they're going to fucking use against the gorilla that men don't have access to? But I just don't understand. If the men can tire the gorilla out, let's say they manage to tire him out, how are they going to kill him? Again, how are the women going to kill the gorilla under the same circumstance? We're stronger, faster, but somehow women are going to figure out a way to kill it? It just doesn't make any sense. And I guess this woman has never heard of a rear naked choke. If they tire that gorilla out and one of the men manages to get behind that gorilla, behind its back, you can literally choke it to death. But again, this is just fantasies of a crazed feminist who has seen too many action movies where they make the woman do unrealistic things. It's like those movies where you see 130-pound women flip and beat a 300-pound man's ass. That's not realistic. Too many movies with female protagonists who are doing unrealistic things and too much feminist propaganda. That's all this is at the end of the day.
With tools. And like I said earlier, your bare hands or feet are not going to be very strong weapons against a gorilla. They have strong muscle mass and tough skin and fur and bone structure that allows them to be able to tank hits from a puny human. Once you've gotten him down, how are you going to beat him? The best thing that you have at your disposal is either strangulation or just piling on top of it and crushing it or making it so that he can't breathe. Again, this is where numbers come into play, because you are going to lose a sizable amount of men, one from his attacks, two from getting trampled on top of by other men as they're running towards him. Some men are going to dip away out of fear, even if they don't disengage from the fight completely, but that hesitation will be enough for him to take out some. And very
Again, will some women not dip away out of fear?
quickly, you have lost the amount of men that you would actually need to be able to, one, subdue him, but then two, also pile on top of him. Even if you were able to have a certain amount of people, the idea that you could easily grab around, like, their arms are thick, so you're going to have to wrap your entire arm around his body, like his arms, just to be able to try to hold him down. Only so many men can do that. They're going to be crushing other men while they're trying to reach for the arm, and in the process of doing that, he can just throw you off. Again, all of this is predicated on the idea that some way you have the ability to be able to sync up with the other men to coordinate your attacks. What's most likely going to happen is that a bunch of the men are going to charge in at the same time, uncoordinated, and that in and of itself would not be enough to take him down. Which is why I say, at the end of the day, the women would have the best chance. We can communicate information with each other just by looking at each other. I think that women would have better coordination skills
feminist
as
delusion.
a group that would allow us to even have a little bit of a leg up when it comes to the attack. Do I still think that humans would be able to beat 100 humans would be able to beat a gorilla reliably? Absolutely not. But I think we would have better organization skills. I think regardless of the fact, it's just really interesting how it proves the point that this is rooted in misogyny from the responses that I'm getting to that original video.
The fact that this turned into a sexism conversation from this woman, from this young woman, is absolutely insane. First of all, apparently none of the things that apply to men in this scenario apply to women, because women are strong and independent who don't need no man. And second, I don't know what this has to do with sexism. And it was a hypothetical situation. Where do you get sexism out of this? And communicating, she's acting like women can communicate telepathically. Oh, we can communicate just by looking at each other. No, that's not how that works. You have a mouth. Men will probably communicate with their mouths, which is actually a better way to communicate than trying to use your fucking eyes. That just goes to show that women would probably get killed even faster. Imagine all of them just trying to communicate with their eyes. Like, what do we do instead of actually using their mouths and speaking, which is an advantage you have over the animal. But these people aren't rational. Like I said, they've seen too many fucking movies which show unrealistic things, like little women taking on incredibly huge men. In real life, that's not happening. And feminism has made these women believe that they're just as capable physically as men. Is why these women actually argue for trans women in women's sports. It's because they think that they're all equal. It's all the same. When it's not. And so this is actually insane. But I do have one compilation of a video, because this was already proven wrong years ago. She says that men have no organizational skills. They have no structure. They wouldn't have a leader, none of that, and the women would be able to communicate better. I have a compilation of the Bear Grylls Man versus Woman in the Wild video, and I'm going to go ahead and show it to you guys right quick. Now, I want you guys to watch this video with me. It's pretty fucking funny. It's pretty fucking funny. All things considered, I want you guys to watch this video with me and tell me who would be better suited for this situation, and why the fuck did it even turn into a sexism conversation.
We have nothing to drink. We don't know where we are.
I don't want to sound too cocky too early.
No, I don't think we should.
I don't think we should at all. No. But right now, we're winning.
Julie, you just order me about all the time.
I would please leave you.
She goes on about those potatoes anymore. I'm going to stab her.
This is the male version.
I feel dreadful. Honestly, I feel absolutely dreadful. I never thought I would be so desperate for food and water.
The water was not an issue. Yeah. And actually dehydration was your own fault rather than lack of water.
The expedition party are dehydrated, hopelessly lost and wandering directionless.
Walking is painful now.
I've yet to see that great communication and organizational skills that women are talking about here. They can't even organize themselves to make a fire to hold them off for the night.
Clothes and no fire because we have to make mistakes.
A huge fucking snake came towards me! It came right at me!
We just caught a prehistoric animal.
I need to be with my family, and I just need to be at home.
All the decisions we've made thus far have been made collaboratively. We've not needed to conform to a system where there's a leader.
Are you serious?
Call the medics! She's Fran! Fran's fainted!
We're winning.
I don't want to drink the water. It tastes of piss.
Decent.
They're so incompetent, they don't even know how to filter water out in the wild. Now, I don't know if they have that material, if they have any plastic or whatsoever. But there's a simple and easy way to filtrate water out in the wild. And I know this from back in the day when I was a cadet. And again, I don't know what these women's background is. But literally, you dig a hole in the ground. If you have a piece of plastic, you dig a hole in the ground. You take all that dirty water, right, and you pour it into the hole. Now, what you'll do is the hole has to be big enough for you to be able to put a container in the middle. And what you do is you cover it with the plastic. You put the plastic above it, you put rocks, and then it's got to be loose enough for you to be able to put a rock in the middle so that there's a dent in the middle of the plastic. And what will happen is that the condensation, once it gets hot enough, the clean water will rise, the vapor will rise. It can't escape because the plastic is holding it back. It'll turn right back into water and funnel right into that container. And guess what? You have clean water. That's how easy it is.
An issue.
It's 2:30 now. No sign of a fire.
If I hadn't turned up today, and I turned up in 6 months, I bet these guys would be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, no shit. Now, if I remember correctly, when this came out, the women actually had to get help from the men to make a fire because they couldn't do it. But these are the same women who say that they don't need a man. Everything turns into a sexism conversation, and apparently women would fare a lot better against the gorilla than the men would. But that's all I got for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree with her opinion? Do you think that women could do better in the 100 men or women versus the gorilla than men would? Let me know in the comments, and if you like the video, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.